Powell had 3 of those against NC State. They talked about it being a catalyst.
He's just a big-time player.
And as Duke fans well know, he's been an extraordinary second-half player.
Roy Williams. And so when you think about a tradition that is like none other at North Carolina, they kept the JV going much longer than
it's coming off. And you're not often thinking about blocking out the shooter in that sort of situation.
He just winked at me. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Nelson puts it on the floor. Carolina back the other way. Powell puts it in.
That's what the Carolina Tar Heels are going to have to be able to take on a better mentality at the beginning of games.
Ray Holloman to be the conductor here with Jeremy Fears on the bench. An open look for Powell. Great.
Cadeau. Powell aims 3. Good. Cadeau. Murray is there. That's a 3.
Play, and I'm not sure it's to their advantage.
Into the corner.
Playing all season long.
Turnover by Guap. Powell.
Way to have an x-ray. The x-ray was negative. He's responded well to treatment, but not going tonight.
Showing that he's much more than just a shooter.
Beautiful pad. Knocked away and stolen by Cadeau. He's got Powell, and he'll lay it in.
You have to read on the interior as of late, but it's normally going to be those 2 guys that have to get the job done in the scoring column.
R.J. Davis, 41% beyond the three-point line. Powell's going to lift it. Cadeau, who has hit a 3 in this one. Powell on the attack, and he's 42 points. On the run out, Powell to lay it.
Front court all season long.
Passed it so well today, and they can.
Didn't matter. Cadeau draws a crowd. The kick to Drake Powell. And the freshman knocks
To shoot. They've been a really good three-point shooting team in conference play. Powell set up tortured Hokies department most of the night here in Blacksburg, and Powell adds. I didn't actually watch. Jackson, Powell, another
Potential.
does this foul.
sizes it up. North Carolina 1 in 10 in quad ones on the bounce. And then the second game against Duke on March 8 on ESPN at 6:30. Here's Powell open in the corner. Yes. Nice feed. Powell the stuff. Shot clock down to 7. Cadeau with a kick out. Powell wants to heave it and hits.
That's with a heat check.
or you're willing to play. At the same time, there are teams out there that
Jackson coming from behind on the theft. Powell tiptoeing through for 2.
Davis on the switch has Corin defensively. Under 5 to shoot. Powell on the pull-up. Hands it back to the point guard Cadeau into the corner. Now that's a month ago when Pitt came back to beat the Tar Heels.
shot selection.
I will venture back into SEC country next week. We'll be at Auburn as the Gators will be there.
Cornersford in from Boston College is having a really good year. Clemson is a good team. They're solid. Young player that Duke's going to have to deal with. So I think that's smart scheduling to play that out of conference game.
9 in quad 1. And their 2 biggest games of the season may be their next 2 games as they were
on the high side of that screen, forcing him down into the actual screen, but just got to the spot.
Another going to do everything they can to try to help their team win this game.
Powell left to shoot it and
spread out. R.J. Davis a feed to
Powell working on the jump shot, but you can see the work is paying off.
look at this. Powell the length of the floor.
Here's Lubin setting the screen. Davis foul line. Leaves it for Powell. Long 3. Good. And now the Wolfpack with their largest lead. Powell to tie and down. A quick outlet Cadeau. Tar Heels transition with Powell. Drake down the lane off the window and in. He's a talented scorer, averaging 11.4 for Coach Enfield. 3 out of the corner. About to the zone, the more you dribble it out there. Tremble in the air. Powell tees one up. And hits 3. 20-13. Here's a kick to the right wing. Powell tees up another one. Sure. Carolina by 14. Powell trying to take Cross off the bounce. Fights through and scoring. Tried to get it to Ian Jackson. Here he is in the corner. Powell tees up a 3.
animated coaching from Hubert Davis throughout. Oh, thread the needle. What a cut. What a pass.
Use of the advantage at the free throw line.
All day. Rainbow.
For the home team Cardinals.
And Chucky Hepburn got caught on a switch and did a really good job of running Jalen.
Drake Powell pull up pop. Got it.
Trying to drive into the paint, get a piece of the paint.
And
just like that.
Pass it knocked away.
RJ Davis read that hammer screen action on the back.
Then that's a different story, but Sinani's the one who initiated that contact.
So non-shooting foul.
When you're talking about Washington, that's part of the issue for Hubert Davis and his staff to be in a position, and now they just have to produce.
Would you say the ceiling is the roof for Carolina?
Yeah, he is tough. Philadelphia.
In the paint, running 10-foot, place relocation. Powell kicks it back outside to Davis. Cadeau out. Powell on a three. Got it.
In the paint, the bounce out by Lubin. And a little follow away here. That's going to.
Have taken it serious here. Already the largest lead of 9.
Drake Powell for 3. Powell. What a finish. Of the call that he pushed Washington into the two name brand squads. A takeaway by Davis. Ahead to Powell. And
zone defensively, changing it up on North Carolina coming out of the timeout.
Powell from the mid-range. Left corner. This is Powell.
For 16 now from the field. Cadeau splits the 2. Oh, wow, what is that? Cadeau, Spinorama. And then Powell.
Using your voice in this barn tonight. Drake Powell, one of the top freshmen.
TK is Takai. And Billy Taylor says, I just call him Takai and Tawan. There's Drake down.
You're seeing it more and more in the college game.
Yeah, but also, Nate Oates says higher guys from the NBA. You see the
Double team, that forces the turnover. 5 of them now for the Mustangs. And Cadeau off the Powell. Parker couldn't handle it. Here's Powell the other way. Bounce pass. Davis goes up.
Up in the action, good things happen.
Into Lubin. McLeod was. The transition defense by Bell. Powell inside. Withers again.
Yeah, one of only 2 losses for the SEC in that challenge. It turned out not to be a challenge. It was 14-2. Powell and
Brakefield. 5 assists for Padula. Powell underneath. Then Drake Powell wide open inside.
5:47. He has 8 points. Powell nearly lost his footing. Very deep down for Luke.
Challenge is if it's going to be Duke, that's a great challenge.
Down the floor for Jackson.
They try to seek out opportunities for their teammates. Like, that's what you look for. This is a group that does that.
Good screen by Lubin. He
Continues to move up that list. Year number 5 for him. Washington with the catch will lay it. All critical for North Carolina. Trying to get back into that NCAA tournament picture. They're going to work it. Saying a lot. They'll give it up for Powell. Shot clock winding down to 2. And good.
Orange uniform, especially when they get away from home.
On the cut, Trimble lays it in.
Assist to turnover ratio, but everybody's been generous with the ball tonight. For NC State.
Fires it up there, but no. Powell kept it alive. And that one.
And again, Alabama has the losses that Duke and Auburn don't. And trying to get a steal. Instead, it's a dunk. Lubin has been for the 2nd time in this game.
Jackson in the corner. Powell a shot fake. Drive. Trying to feed Van Allen.
Where he discovers his shot and never lets up. What a pass. Tyson in from Powell. Good fit.
Still having a hard time finding it from 3. And there's
North Carolina looking for a 3 here. 3 for 25 from beyond the arc.
Numbers for Carolina right now. 5 on 4. Ian Jackson has to take advantage of it.
here's Trimble from the corner. That's good. That's attempt there by Pettiford, and now numbers for Carolina. Powell, extra pass, corner. Jackson, got it.
Played by Van Allen Lubin, and here's Powell with Trimble live.
Carolina still has not hit from deep.
It's a good miss, though.
Smalls. Oh my goodness.
But there's more to the story there. It doesn't matter whether he makes it or not.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
And they want to push the tempo. Salas each region, then at 8, the women's bracket of 68.
To just slow the game down.
Carlos swatted by
against Auburn. No reception. Will actually lead North Carolina in rebounding, which is very rare.
Now Hill working against Powell, blocked away. Got 7 now. Quick look, Miller had it blocked, and Edwards.
There's, of course, a little bit of talking back and forth, but they both talk about just being in the presence of Drake. So
Padua and Trimble. Screen, no switch, the double, the feed. Davis with a 3.
Trimble. And the Tar Heels come up empty. This is Boyd, the orchestrator, changes direction. They get him.
61-46. Kniffel on the drive.
We'll see if this is the point. Now Starling will drive it, try to call the foul.
It's always cool when you come back here to see all the banners. Of course, Jamison.
a little bit.
They were self-inflicted. Nice help that time by Trumbull.
And Condon to the paint. Zipping it downstairs, and a nice block.
For Tennessee, had a chance to tie it or break the record.
Eastern on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern. Drake and Vanderbilt.
Here's on the floor, American. It's not a team built with transfers. Great foul by
is on Murray. Washington is on Dion. Oh, it's picked.
The ability to be able to step away and shoot it under duress with the clock disappearing out. It's up for grabs.
3 years been a completely different story for this Tar Heel program.
Yeah, last season ACC champions. Good steal by Drake Powell.
Yes, he made it very clear to us earlier. He said, listen, I've heard a lot of talk about this North Carolina team, but
we have seen so far this afternoon, Chris, late in the shot clock has been a real problem defensively for Pitt as well.
It has. You know, Jeff Capel calling it their defensive stamina. You know, they're just losing focus at the end of these defense. Doug, they were grown-ups. I mean, you had 2 grown-ups in your locker room along with Baycott.
Dunn lost it. Still loose. Trimble's got Guillermo Diaz's grand.
In the ACC-SEC Challenge back at the end of November.
Yeah, one of only 2 losses for the SEC. And
guards allowed North Carolina to do, picking up 94 feet.
going for the lob
For SMU.
Colbert tried to bounce it through.
Here's Martin. Pass interrupted.
A little bit on his hip.
No contact. Davis got hit.
The right way because he prepped at Long Island Lutheran and they competed in the Iolani Classic, which is one of the top high school basketball tournaments held in Honolulu, Hawaii. So that's now 3 basketball trips he's made out to the islands.
Not that.
Key spins baseline, gathers himself.
And great.